So these are the answers for the review, for the first page in the review packet. So we're going to go through a couple of them. So we're going to go through that first problem. Okay, so on number 1, it says 18 equals the square root of 15r plus 4 plus 10. Okay, so now that's good. So now there are two different types of way that you can solve this. You can either A, solve it by what we've normally done in the past, where you would like subtract 10 and you would square root both sides, or square both sides. Since this is a multiple choice question, okay, and I'm all about efficiency, do you see how there are choices that are A, which is -7 and -10, B is -7, 4 and 10, and D is 7, right? Okay, what I would do is I would take each of these and I would just plug them into the equation and see which one is true. So what did y'all come down to? Like, for those of you who got this wrong, which one did you say it was? It's okay to be wrong. We're trying to learn here. What did y'all say it was? Like, if you didn't get that answer.
Isn't it 4?
You're talking about B? Okay, so nobody needs me to go over this? Okay, so then let's check it. What was the answer for 1? 4. Okay, so let's prove why this works. So 18 equals the square root of 15 times 4 plus 4 plus 10. Okay, so on this side, I would have 15 times 4. What would that give me? 60. What's 60 plus 4? Okay. So this is going to be the square root of 64, which is going to be 8. 8 plus 10 is going to give me 18. So that's the only one that it works for. So B should have been my answer, right? Okay. All right. So what's the next one that I need to talk about? Number 3. Okay. So on 3, they tell me that there's this equation right here. And they want us to see what the depth was of the ocean at that time of 195 meters per second, right? So I'm going to plug 195 in for S. And I'm going to try to solve for D. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to square both sides. And that's going to give me 38,025. And on this side, I'm going to get 9.8D.
And divide 9.
So I'm going to divide by 9.8 on both sides. And when I do that, I'm going to get D equals 3,880 meters. Yes.
All right, number 4.
Look at her.
Say that again. Okay, so on number 4, it says m minus 3 equals the square root of 3m minus 5. Okay, so again, you can either do this one of two ways. You can actually like solve this out the normal way, or you can actually plug it in. So I've got one person who wants me to go ahead and solve it out the normal way. So the first thing I would do is isolate my radical, which this is already isolated. So I'm going to square both sides. When I square both sides, I'm going to get rid of this radical on the right-hand side. That's going to give me 3m minus 5. On the left-hand side, this is going to be m minus 3 times m minus 3. And then I'm going to distribute that, right? So m times m is m squared. M times -3 is going to be -3m. -3 times m is going to be -3m. -3 times -3 is going to give me 9.
So m squared minus 6m.
Okay, so now I'm going to combine my like terms. So that's going to give me m squared minus 6m plus 9. And that's going to give me 3m minus 5 on this side. So now I want to solve for m. So I'm going to move all of this stuff to the other side. So I'm going to subtract 3m from both sides. And that's going to give me m squared minus 9m plus 9 equals -5. I still want to move that 5 to the other side, so I'm going to add 5 on both sides. And that's going to give me m squared minus 9m plus 14 equals 0. Now we're going to have to factor. So we're going to do a times c. That's going to give me 14. B is going to give me -9. What two numbers will make that happen?
7 and 2.
-7 and -2. So when I solve, I'm going to have x equals 7 and x equals 2. Now, if you look down at your answer choices, there isn't anything that says 7 or 2. So you really don't have to check anything because all your answer is going to be is 7, right? Okay? But what you would do now is you would actually plug it back into your equation and check and make sure that 7 works. So your answer should be D on this one. Okay? Things. So on 6, it's talking about domain and range, and it's also talking it's also talking about the parent function. The parent function for radicals is going to be that square root of x. Okay, always and forever for our radical functions. Okay, so if I graph this, I would go to my graphing calculator, right? And I would hit that y equals button, and I would type second x squared x close parentheses, right? When I hit graph, I can see that it's coming off from 0, 0 and like going to the right, right? Now if I look at my table and I go to where 0, 0 is, if it'll let me click, that would be cool. You say that, but all right, so you see how there's errors up at the top and then it starts at 0, 0. So my lowest or my farthest to the left x value is 0, right? What's my farthest to the right x value? Infinity. So for my domain on this one, I'm going to have from 0 to positive infinity. Now let's look at our range. That means that we're looking at our y values, right? So what's my lowest y value? 0. So what's my highest y value? Positive infinity. It goes on forever, right? Okay, that is how I find my domain and range. I plug it in, I look at the table, I see what's my lowest, what's my farthest to the left, write that down. What's my highest, what's my farthest to the right, write that down. Okay? Somebody in my last class was like, why do we have to do that? It's kind of like if like another kid from a different school says, hey, what school district do you live in? And you would say South Gwinnett District. That's like telling you the boundaries of where you potentially would live. This is basically like telling about the function, saying, hey, it lives in these boundaries. Okay? That's what domain and range is saying. It's located in this area. Yeah? Makes sense? Y'all are looking at me like I'm crazy. Cool. Awesome. Great. Okay, so this is number 7. And what you're going to do is you're going to take your graphing calculator and you're going to type this into your y equals. So you're going to hit y equals, you're going to hit clear, you're going to hit second x squared, you're going to type x minus 2, close parentheses, or you're going to hit that right arrow key to get outside of the radical, depending on what your graphing calculator does. And then you're going to hit second graph, okay? You're going to scroll down to where your numbers start happening. You see how there's all these errors? You're going to scroll down to where the numbers start happening. So what's my farthest left x value? 2. What's my farthest right x value? What's my farthest right x value? Look at our graph. If we look at our graph, what's my farthest left x value? 2. What's my farthest right x value? Infinity. So when I write my domain, I'm going to say from 2 to positive infinity. Farthest left and right. Not always. It could have like a boundary, like with our piecewise function, we had a stopping point, right? But not always is there going to be a stopping point. Okay? For my range, we're going to look at our table again. What's my lowest y value? What's my highest y value? Okay, so from 0 to infinity. Are there questions over this? Are we okay? Yep. Pretty well. And basically all this is typing into your calculator. On this one, you've got to make sure that you type it in correctly or you'll do it wrong. So you're going to go to that y equals button, hit clear. You're going to hit second x squared. You're going to type x plus 1, close parentheses, plus 3. Notice how that plus 3 is outside the radical. Okay, if you have one of these graphing calculators that doesn't do like the parentheses, you've got to hit the right arrow key right here where I put that second parentheses. Okay? So then you're going to hit second graph, and that's going to pull up your table. You're going to scroll up to where you see error. Okay? What's your farthest left x value? -1. What's your farthest right x value? Infinity. So your domain is going to be from -1 to positive infinity. So let's look at your range. What is your lowest y value? 3. What's my farthest up y value? Infinity. Yes, babe. Okay? So this one's a little different from what we've been doing in the fact that there's this negative out front. Okay? That's going to change it just a little bit, and I need you to make sure that you're paying attention to this. So you're going to go to that y equals button. You're going to hit clear, and you're going to type -2 second x squared x minus 4, close parentheses, minus 4. Make sure that you type that in correctly. Make sure you didn't use that minus button instead of that negative button. Those are two totally different things on the graphing calculator. Don't know why, it just is what it is. Okay? So, then you're going to hit second graph, and that's going to pull up your table. Now, let's go to our first number. Okay? So, what is our farthest left x value? 4. So, my domain's going to be from 4. So, what's my farthest x value? Farthest right x value. Infinity, right? Not negative, positive, right? Now, what this number right here, -4. After that, these numbers increase or decrease? Okay, these numbers decrease. So, -4 technically is my highest y value, right? Okay, so let's look at the graph really quick. So look at what happened here. It's going down, okay? So my farthest, yes, because that's my x value, okay? So for right here, my farthest up y value is -4. My farthest down y value is -infinity. So the way I write my range is going to be from, sorry, no bracket, parentheses, -infinity to -4. Okay?